Well, it's Mondays, and it's one of the most boring days starting the week. Of course, nobody likes Mondays. But however, I intend to keep your Mondays fun and exciting. So for the entirety of this episode, it's all about ChocoPro. So we're going to be doing, of course, 6 reviews from them. So it happens throughout the entire month of March, except the latest one that is going to come out soon. But that's another time. But for now, let's focus, of course, on 507, 508, 509, which, of course, featuring their friends from Canada, Mystery Wrestling, which is run by Evil Uno. Then we have 510. Then we have 511, which is one of their big shows in Shinkiba, featuring, of course, 3 title matches. And then finally, 512, which is, of course, the Hiroyi Museum, which, of course, is Hiroyi Iwata's final event. As you know, she is retiring from pro wrestling, which is very sad, but I'll explain a little bit about that, why she's retiring. And then, of course, as always, we'll wrap up our episode as usual to give you guys some news updates, what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got to do Nike Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get to it. So, let's begin with ChocoPro number 507. Okay, ChocoPro number 507. This happened, of course, on the 8th of March, which was earlier in the month. We have, of course, Balinaki opening up the show, of course. He gave a little talk about Emi Sakura, who returned here back to the States. Said something about a tournament, which he lost. I'm not 100% sure if that's what he said. But anyway, of course, he gave out the info of the entire show's matches and that so on. Now, we open up with an exhibition match. We have Chiyu, who faces against Mei Shruga. Now, obviously, we know that Chiyu is a rookie, of course. She is brand new, and she's getting on the learning curve. But however, when it comes to Mei Shruga, well, we know her shenanigans, how she's going to end up. She plays a very, not dirty game, but more like a a sadistic way type of person. You know, she does things however she wants. Even if Balinaki has to put up with her, but she was able to pick up the win by pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our first match, which is our part of the main show, is a tag team action. We have Kaho Hiroyi teaming up with Tokiko Kirihara. They take on Sayaka and Chiko Shikawa. Now, obviously, for those who don't know, Sayaka and Chiko Shikawa, as you know, they're part of along with Tokiko, they are the fourth generation girls that actually, of course, started together. But for this particular day, Sayaka teams up with Chi. And not to mention, she's a tag champion in this one as well, if you guys know what I mean. But it was a pretty good match, I'm not gonna lie. But of course, the weakest link had to be Kaho. Despite that, Kaho is very capable, and not to mention, she uses her size in her advantage. But it was not enough until, of course, she was able to pick up a win by pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have Soy and Miya Tsuba once again teaming up. They take on, of course, the Best Bros, Balinaki and Mei Suruga. Now, obviously, we all know how that turns up a whole lot, because if you guys know, Miya and Mei are, in fact, master and student. Miya had to learn a lot from Mei Suruga, and Miya is one of the few girls who actually learned under her wing instead of Emi Sakura, who, in fact, as you all know, was here in the States. But Mei Suruga taught her very well. But however, when it comes to tag team cohesion, we know that the Best Bros have the much better cohesion. They have teamed up countless times. They faced many teams that challenged them, either as in a tag team match or just tag team title match, whatever comes their way. But in the end, it was Mei Suruga that was able to pick up the win by pinning Soy, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our main event, we have Hiroya Wada taking on Sayaka Obihiro, or as we just call her, Obi. I thought this match was very intensified. I mean, I did not anticipate a whole lot in this one, because, man, Hiroyi put out a whole lot. I mean, she is one of those girls that really can go all the way if she has to, and she is determined to not give up until she has her big win. And unfortunately, that's what she had. She pinned Obi. It's a major upset, because Obi has, what, 13, 14 years of experience, and just like that, she lost to her, and it was a big moment. And I'm sure that's the most sad, good thing to see from Hiroyi. Now, our next thing we have is the Jonkin tournament. Obviously, we all know how this is going to go. But however, the person who won, well, she may not have won her match against Hiroyi, but she won anyway at the Jonkin tournament. Of course, Obi won. But her the runner-up was none other than Tokiko Kirihara, which is okay. And then, of course, during the post-show, they did celebrate happy birthday to Irikane, who was not wrestling, but she was there. And so is a referee. I've never seen him before. He's a male referee who we've seen a few times. But yes, it was a great celebration. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for this one. So let's continue with more with ChocoPro. All right. We continue with more with ChocoPro with number 508, and this happened on the 14th of March. Balinaki once again opened up the show, giving the fans the greetings and, of course, the info of the entire show's matches that they were going to showcase. Now, our first match was an exhibition match. Ren, who is the other girl who, in fact, along with Chiyu, the new girls, well, this time Ren faces the the little slide devil herself, Mei Suruga. Now, even though Mei defeated Chiyu when we reviewed the last one we did, well, you would think that she would do the same old shenanigans. Well, you may be right. She did the same old shenanigans, and unfortunately, she won by pinfall. 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, our next match, we have Tokiko Kirihara and Chiko Shikawa teaming up. They take on Kaho Hiromi and Mei Suruga. Now, obviously, we have seen both Kaho and Mei team up a few times. They even face off each other on opposite times in either in singles or in tag match, but they work together very well because they have the same kind of mindset. I mean, Mei Suruga is more of a person who's willing to cross the line. Kaho is willing to use her charm and looks to find ways to get away from whatever she's trying to prove. But however, Kaho couldn't escape Chiko Shikawa and she pinned her 1, 2, 3. It was over. Next up, we have a 6-person tag match. We have, of course, Miya Yotsuba and Soy teaming up. They team up with Anako Montana, a Chilean wrestler. They take on, of course, Bananaki and Chris Brooks together. They're called the Best Buds, but they're joined by Rina Yamashita. Now, obviously, it was going to be a very impressive match, but Hanako Montana, as you know, has his fair issues towards Chris Brooks because last time Chris Brooks tried to whack him with the belt, and John Bravo tried to stop him, but it kind of turned into a farce. But nonetheless, but in the end, it was in fact Rina Yamashita that got away with knocking out Miya Yotsuba with a lariat, and just like that, 1, 2, 3. But what I failed to mention on this match, of course, this was a preliminary match because Miya is the challenger for the Super Asia Championship, which is the top title of the promotion, which Rina Yamashita has. So you can tell how this was going to go. Now, during the intermission, apparently there was some sad news. The Egg Tarts, Hagane Shino and Chiko Shikawa, announced due to Hagene's requests and, of course, concerns, he was relinquishing his championship along with Chi. And the reasons behind that is because Hagane has some surgery, and this was something that he has to do. Now, remember, they had to defend those belts within the next 6 months. However, due to the surgery, it kind of prevents him to do that. So Hagane had to make the toughest decision. Now, Chi, of course, despite that she had to relinquish the belt, the one thing that hurt her is knowing the fact that they had to let go of these belts, because if you guys have been a long time fans of ChocoPro, you can tell that the Egg Tarts have time and time again have challenged for these belts and they never come across. And the only reason they won it is because Hagane was able to wake up Chi, telling her, look, Chi, you need to stop, relying on me too much. You need to stand up on your own 2 feet, which she, of course, eventually did. And she did stand up on her own feet. But also Hagane told her, I admire the Best Bros a whole lot because they're very cohesion. They're very, they get along great, and that's something I want. And she realized that he was right, that they had to be that. And it's sad that they finally won these belts, but what's sad is that they had to relinquish them. And that's the saddest thing. But of course, she will never forget Hagane no matter what. And I'm sure one day we will see those two team up once again and reclaim those belts. It's only a matter of time of when. Now, our next match is our main event. We have Hiroyi Wada taking on, of course, Big Kaijo from Tokyo Pro Wrestling, Shoko Nakajima. Now, of course, Nakajima has been with ChocoPro before, but however, her behavior has got a little erratic outside the ring because she was on the outside of the building. She tore out the banner of ChocoPro. It looks like she became a heel or something. I mean, there is no such thing as heels in Tokyo Pro Wrestling, but in ChocoPro, yes. But unfortunately, of course, Nakajima was able to apply, of course, the Northern Light suplex onto Hiroyi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our Jonkin tournament. Well, I can tell you who ended up in the finals, which was kind of weird, but at the same time, kind of like, I don't know how this turned out. It turned out to be Chi and Hagane. Despite that they relinquished the tag belts, they went up against each other. And of course, you can tell Chi's like, she wants to win it, but she can't hold back, knowing well that this is something that Hagane have always warned her. Don't hold back. And that's exactly what she did. She actually won, and Hagane lost. But deep down, she is hurt that she had to do that to him. But I'm sure Hagane is proud of her that she had to let go, knowing that you can't just be relying on me too much, Chi. You have to stand up on your own. And I think she is learning that no matter how hard it hurts in her heart to face off against her own tag partner who you look up to like a big brother, you have to let go, knowing that you have to face them one way or the other. And I think that's a very emotional storyline to tell. But nonetheless, it was a good one. So I think that's pretty much it right now. So let's move on with more of ChocoPro. And this one, of course, features their collaboration with Mystery Wrestling. So let's get to it. All right, ChocoPro 509, and this is a collaboration with Mystery Wrestling. Now, if you're not familiarized with this, this is the promotion by Evil Uno, where he does his shows in Canada. Now, for those who are not familiarized with Mystery Wrestling, this is what it is. You don't even know who the hell is going to show up. No announcements, nothing. So that's what makes it very mystery. And of course, Balinaki, who was with Evil Uno during the opening of the show, was saying, no announcements will make, and that's how we're going to go. But he also, Balinaki requested something from Uno. If you guys remember, last year, Uno said he never been commentator or hold a camera before, because it was kind of different from how things were done in Canada, things they done overseas than over there, and that was one of the things. And he did it. So he did commentating 2 matches. One is the exhibition match, of course. That's where we start out. It's in fact, of course, Chiyo teaming up with Mei Shruga. They take on Rin and Hiroyi Yawada. Now, obviously, there was some similarities between both sides. Chiyu and Mei are almost the same. You know, they have like the same kind of personality and height and body build. But as for Rin and Hiroyi, they have the same kind of body build and you know, personality. And that's one of the things I have noticed. But I wasn't too sure how it's going to be. But I have to say, Rin and Hiroyi really got the best out of each other. I mean, they actually really really tagged very well. But they applied a double roll up on both Mei and Chiyu. So it was 1, 2, 3. Rin and Hiroyi picked up the win. Now our next match, we have, of course, the best buds, Balinaki and Chris Brooks, taking on guys from Mystery Wrestling, Hattie and Junior Benito. So basically, if you guys don't know who these guys are, they're part of the Mystery Wrestling with Evil Uno. So they came along, and I thought it was a pretty good, fun match, but it really got a bit more intensified in any way possible. I was like, basically, you weren't sure how this was going to turn out, because obviously many people expect the homegrown guys would win, which of course is the best buds. But we did see some, the end, we did see some great combination. The gut buster by Balinaki onto Benito, but it was the Santon that made the final touch to take him out. But Balina was the one who picked up the win onto Benito by pinfall. 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, we have Hiroyi Wada and Soy teaming up. They take on, of course, Shiko Shikawa and Tokiko Kihara. I thought it was a pretty fun match. However, Hiroyi and Soy are almost similar. But, of course, Soy had to wear that little hat that Hiroyi always wears. She looks like, why the hell do I have to wear this damn hat? Well, that's how things were. But, however, the ending was great by Soy. She did a good combination of both the spear onto Tokiko, but she even applied a schoolboy onto her. I thought that was an amazing combination that she applied, and it was just like 1, 2, 3, done. It was completely over. Now, our next match, which is our main event, is Mei Mei, portrayed by Mei Shruga, and Chonchiru. They take on Miya Yatsuba and Evil Uno, and I thought it was a good team. However, Mia doesn't understand English, so Evil Uno was telling everybody that he integrated Miya Yatsuba into the Dark Order. So Mia kind of, yes, agreed, not realizing what the hell she just agreed upon, which makes it so funny. But nonetheless, I have to say, Evil Uno and Mia really got along very great. I mean, despite of the language barrier, it's the wrestling style itself that tells the actual language. And Mia was able to apply the Mia punch, while Evil Uno had shown into, of course, a position that gave her an opportunity to give the punch, and boom, Uno drops him down on his face, and then of course Uno picked up the win. 1, 2, 3. It was over. Now our then of course our Jonkin tournament. Our finalists were none other than Munich and Balanaki, and the person that won was Munich. So, yep. And of course, it's sad that none of the guys from Uno and his crew did not able to pick up, made it to the Jonkin tournament. But it was a very fun event. I have to say, I enjoyed seeing um, mystery wrestling showing up, and of course, Balanaki did state it that they would like to see them come back, which I'm sure many fans will love that. So, let's move on to the next, of course, which is 510. Okay, ChocoPro 510. This happened on the 20th of March. Uh, Mei Shruga opened up the show instead. We have seen Balanaki for the last couple of shows that he opened up, but now it's Mei doing the same thing, greeting the fans, giving the info of the entire event itself, what matches were announced. Our first match, we have uh, Shin Suzuki and Miya Tsuba teaming up. They take on the Best Bros. The Best Buds, Chris Brooks and Balanaki. Now, of course, we know that Shin Suzuki has his fair issues towards Balanaki in the past, and that kind of plays out pretty well in itself. I mean, throwing a bit of the anger and saying, Balanaki, I really don't like you, so I'm going to beat you up. But however, once again, that combination of the Gutbuster and the Senton, well, the Gutbuster by Balanaki, then the Senton by Chris Brooks onto Shin Suzuki, and just like that, by Balanaki, who picked up the win by pinfall. 1, 2, 3, done. Next up, we have Chiko Shikawa and Sayaka. They take on Tokiko Kihara and Mei Shruga. Now, obviously, we know that these girls exactly how they operate. I mean, um, we know that Mei Shruga is fourth generation, and as for the others, no, Mei is third generation, and the others are third, of course, a fourth, of course, and that kind of sets it up right there and to tell us. But what I did like is I didn't expect that Chi and Sayaka. I mean, Chi has often teamed up with Hagane a lot. Sayaka, well, she has teamed up with various partners, but those two are from the same generation together. And what I liked about this is that Chi and Sayaka were able to pin Tokiko by pin at the same time. Mei Shruga was unable to stop it, but 1, 2, 3, a double pin onto Tokiko, and it was over just like that. Now, our main event, of course, is the Super Asian Championship. Hiroyi Wada taking on Rina Yamashita. Now, of course, this was one of those moments where Hiroyi, as you know, I mentioned that she'll be leaving and retiring from pro wrestling. This is one of those moments where she has to go all the way because she's facing against a wrestler who has more experience with her and she knows exactly what she needs to do. But, however, Rina Yamashita applied whatever she had in her arsenal, like the lariat. That did not work. But however, she was able to apply the camel clutch, and just like that, Hiroyi had no choice but to tap out. Now, as for our Jonkin tournament, we ended up, of course, with Hiroyi and Mei Shruga. Well, unfortunately, Mei Shruga picked up the win, and just like that, it was over. So, pretty good show, not gonna lie. So we'll move on with more of ChocoPro, and I believe we're doing the bigger show that they did in Shinkiba, called The Promised. Okay, ChocoPro number 511. This one is one of their big shows in Shinkiba called The Promise, and this happened, of course, on the 23rd of March. We opened up with the performance by Mei Shuga being joining with Kaho as her backup singer, dancer, whatever she does. Does her usual theme song she does every single time whenever they do these big shows. But that's pretty much it from there. Now, our first match, we have tag team action. We have Black Kominachi, consistent of Tokiko Kirihara and Antonio Honda. They take on Kaho Hiromi and Hiroyi Yawada. Now, obviously, we know that Black Kominachi does have the better tag team experience since they have teamed up countless times. But when it comes to Kaho and Hiroyi, they're very different from each other, but they can get the job done even if they lose. Now, of course, those who've seen Antonio Honda, we know his usual shtick. Every time he does the timeout, he does his usual stories and then does the fox and get you right between the eyes. But however, well, we saw Kaho decided to play a little game with him. Decided to do the same thing. Timeout, and then later does the X thing and then boom, right into his throat. So I have to say, she really was clever to play his game. So I was very surprised. But however, Kaho and Hiromi were able to double pin Tokiko while they were able to separate her from Antonio Honda. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now our next match is the vacancy of the Asia Dream Tag Team belts. As you know, Hagane Shino had to relinquish the belt due to a medical surgery that he'll be obtaining soon, or he had whatever. But anyway, he had to relinquish, and that gave, of course, the opportunity for, of course, ChocoPro to figure out what's the next step to crown new champions. So, three teams were chosen in a three-way match. First, we have, of course, Sayaka Obihiro, or as we call her, Obi. She teams up with Minoru Fujita, and these guys were dressed up in their usual chef gear getup. Those who don't know, Obi is in fact a certified chef. So, just put it out there. They're facing against Chiko Shikawa and Sayaka. Obviously, for those who don't know, remember I keep mentioning it. These two girls are fifth generation girls who were trained by Emi Sakura, and then of course the final team was Kung Fu Panda, consisting of Chonchiru and Lee Yoneyama Kao. Obviously that's kind of sets it up. But however, when it comes to three ways, it's very hectic because we don't know how the hell is this thing's going to end, because there's always the third person that tries to stop it. And I think that's one of the things that we always count on. I wasn't too sure exactly who was going to win, but to my surprise, it was Chiko Shikawa and Sayaka. They were able to double pin Obi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, brand new tag champions. Now, I want to put out something for all of you. This would be, of course, Chiko Shikawa's third reign as the Asia Dream Tag Team Champion, and as for Sayaka, this will be her second time. Now, some of you may question, who were, of course, Chi's tag team partners. Well, obviously, it's Hagane. We just mentioned that they had to relinquish the belts, but Chi's first partner she won the belts with was against Obi, which ironically she won from her. And as for Sayaka, other than her teaming up with Chi, she teamed up with Makoto, and they were tag champions. So that kind of sets it up right there for all of us. But it makes perfect sense in case anybody asks. But now, soon the hunt for being the next challengers will begin. Now, our next match, we have the Best Buds, Balanaki and Chris Brooks. They're joined by DDT's very own Harashima. They take on the guys from Mystery Wrestling, led by Evil Uno. He's joined with Hadi and Junior Benito. Now, obviously, we have already seen these guys in ChocoPro recently, which I reviewed. I hope you guys saw that. But it was a pretty good match. Hard-hitting, good pace type of way I think that many of us would expect. But however, we did see the combination that we always seen with Balanaki and Chris Brooks. Balanaki applied a gut buster onto Benito, and then later Chris Brooks applied the senton. But it was Harashima that picked up the win by applying the running Meteora, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So I had to say it was a pretty good match. Now, our next match is the DPW Women's Championship. If you guys don't know, this is from Deadlock Pro Wrestling, which is a promotion based out of North Carolina, I believe, or South Carolina, one of the two, one of the Carolinas. But anyway, Mei Suruga is the champion, and Soy, of course, who is determined to wrestle overseas, issue the challenge. Now, not to take anything away from Soy, we know she has a bit of a powerhouse. We know she's been champion before, not to mention former Asian Tag Team Champion with Mia. Well, this was going to be a perfect opportunity. But when it comes to May, we all know her deal. She is a bit of a sly devil. She tries to not play dirty, but try to uh, put on pain on her opponents, try to hurt them badly to ensure that they never get up. But unfortunately, May was able to pick up the win by pinning Soy, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our main event is the Super Asia Championship. Miya Yotsuba, making another attempt for this belt, faces against Rina Yamashita. And I have to say, this was one of those matches where it told the story, where Mia was determined. Now, I can talk about Mia all as much, but I remember from day one how she started, how she learned a lot from Mei Suruga, and of course, her biggest matches that she had, of course, one beating Emi Sakura was one of them. That shows that she's growing, she's getting better. And not to mention, she did have her sister join her too, but she's not with the promotion at this point. But Mia was determined to win at any cost. But she was able to apply the opening with the Mia punch, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, brand new Super Asia champion. So that means she is at the top of the mountain, and that's a very emotional moment. Now, during the post show, we did see, of course, they celebrated Soy's birthday and all that stuff, and I have to say it's great that they celebrated her birthday. But of course, we did hear from general manager Kizuki announcing the return of the Gato Rhapsody. Now, for those who are not familiarized with that, the Gato Rhapsody is a mixed tag team tournament. Basically, is the man and woman teaming up. But two teams have now been officially confirmed. One is, of course, obviously the Best Bros, which Balanaki and Mei Suruga, and the other, of course, is Kung Fu Panda, consisting of Chonchiru and Lee Yoneyama Okoa, and they are involved. I'm sure there'll be more teams to team up, so we'll see how that goes. My assumption that Minoru Fujita and Obi will be teaming up, but that probably has to be confirmed at another time. And then, of course, they introduced Mystery Wrestling, how they had great time bringing their friends straight up from Canada be involved, and of course people were telling them they would like to see them come back, and of course they would love to. And then they announced the champions, of course, our new tag champions, our women's champion, and of course our new Super Agent champion, Mia. However, Hiroshima, of course, volunteered himself to be her first challenger, and of course she refused. I'm sure she's still trying to get her footing because she's not ready to accept challenges yet, or whatever the case, but we'll see. But it was a pretty good show, I'm not going to lie. And seeing Mia pick up the win, becoming champion, is great. One thing that's sad for her, I know for sure, her dad is not here to see this. For those who don't know, Mia said that her dad often talks about her when she started wrestling. And not to mention, of course, they used to watch all their shows. They even plan to go see her, make the trip to whatever town they're from, to Tokyo, to see them. But fortunately, he passed away, and I'm sure he's looking down on his daughter, how happy and proud she has accomplished, and I'm sure Mia is thinking about that too. So I can't wait to see what Mia is going to do moving forward as the top champion of ChocoPro. But we'll end things here with this one and do our last and final review of ChocoPro, which is, of course, number 512, called the Hiroyi Museum. Alright, ChocoPro number 512, the Hiroyi Museum. This happened the day after the promise on March 24th. Now, the reason it's called the Hiroyi Museum, this will be the last time we get to see Hiroyi Iwata. And it was announced earlier in the time that Hiroyi was retiring for pro wrestling. Now, To clarify some things so people don't make a big deal or a fuzz about it once you guys get to this review. Hiroyi was not retiring due to injury. There are two factors why she's retiring, and I looked it up. It turns out the reason that Hiroyi is retiring, one is because she graduated this past month from Tokyo University of Arts. Um, that's one factor that plays out. But the other factor is the main reason I do believe why she is leaving. It turns out that she already lined up a job, of next month in April of 2026, and it requires of her to move far away uh, from Tokyo, and that's the main reason why she is leaving. So basically, she'll be sending off from everybody in the roster, and of course, it was a full house, and I mean, people came out to support her, which is normal and of course very emotional. Now, of course, Balanaki opened up the show, greeting the fans, giving the info of the matches, and talk about Hiroyi and that stuff. But let's get into our first match now. Well, our exhibition match. They introduced a brand new girl named Waka. Yeah, kind of like Waka Tsukiyama, but yes, Waka, another new girl. Her opponent, it was none other than the star of the hour, Hiroyi Iwata. And of course, this match was going to fall into Hiroyi to win since she is the much experienced wrestler. And that sets it up right there. Hiroyi won by pinfall, in case anybody asks. Now, our next match we have Kaho and Chris Brooks teaming up, which was a very unusual team up. And they're facing off against Anarco Montana, our Chilean wrestler, and he teams up with one half of the Asian Dream Tag Team Champion, Sayaka. Now, we all seen Chris Brooks' antics, how he is all the time. If you guys ever seen one of those rubber bands that you stretch out and you have your opponent right there and you try to have someone to let go and it hurts like hell, Chris was trying to get Kaho to do it, but Kaho couldn't do it. I mean, she's not that type of person who's that cruel. But, however, Chris Brooks was able to pick up the win by applying the octopus hold onto Arnico, and just like that, Arnico had to tap out. Our next match is singles action. We have Tokiko Kihara and taking on Chon Chido. Now, of course, this was a very impressive match. Tokiko, as you know, has some fantastic striking capabilities and submission. As for Chon, well, we all know he has a very unusual style that he does. A little bit of kung fu fighting. Yep, that style. And he was able to apply the 619 like he normally does. But he won by pinfall on this one, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our main event, of course, is Soy teaming up with Mei Shruga and Miya Yatsuba, which are two champions. They take on Obi, Chiko Shikawa, and our star of the hour, Hiroyi Iwata. And I thought the match was pretty impressive. Hiroyi was determined to retire with winning this match, and that's something that tells up. But however, we did see a bit of the Mei Shruga antics. We always talked about when we review ChocoPro, she does these antics all the time. But however, it was Miya that picked up the win with Hiroyi when she applied the Miya punch, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, as for our Jonkin tournament, well, our two finalists turned out to be our Chilean wrestler, Hanako and Montana. He defeated Munich, and just like that, it was over. Now, of course, during the post-show, we did have, of course, the retirement celebration and all that, and everybody gave their word about Hiroyi. Minoru Fujita kind of told her that, despite that she's retiring, he told her, please do not disconnect yourself from the people you made friends here. Stay in contact with them. You may not be able to wrestle again, but they're your family too. And I think Hiroyi was touched. But the one person who took it hard of her retiring was Irikane. For some of you may probably wondering why. Irikane, as you know, debuted before she did, and they got along great. They even teamed up together when they started. But it was very hard and emotional for her and all that. See someone who she grew accustomed around and teaming up a few times leave, and that's very hard. And of course, Hiroyi got very emotional seeing how there was a lot of people that came here to support her, and she never had that type of feeling. I mean, she got used to seeing a lot of people being at the shows, but this was different, and she saw that. But she was thankful for the people that were there, the people who helped her train, people who helped her grow, and of course, she says she will never forget anybody there, and that's important. I mean, it's sad that she has to go, but hopefully one day we get to see her again, whenever that day comes. So that's pretty much it. What would happen? I mean, uh, yeah. So right now, let's move on to our last and final thing: news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with some upcoming events. Now we do have updates from GCW and House of Glory for some events altogether. Let's start with GCW first. As you know, we had the Bloodsport event on the 17th of April in Las Vegas. It was announced that Josh Barnett will meet up with his old rival from New Japan, and that is Blue Justice, Yuji Nagata. Yep, the very same one. So basically, they'll be facing off once again. They have faced off each other for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, but now this is something different. They did also announce for the Express Lane show on May 1st, which is going to be in Jopa, Maryland. They announced that the Bad Boy Joey Janela will take on Ken Dixon, I believe. And then finally, the Guilty Conscience in Detroit on the 17th of April. Vipers will take on Allison Kay. Now for some House of Glory updates here. As you know, they will be in Las Vegas as well for Culture Clash on the 16th of April. They announced that the House of Glory Women's Championship will be on the line. Shotzi Blackheart will defend it against Charlie, formerly known as Dakota Kai. And then we have, of course, the most wanted Bandito taking on the Amazing Red. So, yep, that's going to be one hell of a match. However, they even announced for the Glory at the Globe, which is their LA show on May 1st, that La Mera Mera Thunder Rosa will be there. Now, we have the collaboration with DEFY Wrestling and Dragon Gate, the crossover on April 10th. Sovereign, which features, of course, Judas Icarus, Travis Williams, and I forgot the other guy. They take on the guys from DDT. KZ, Ben DK, and Ho Ho Loon will be there. Progress Wrestling, which is a British promotion, will be in Las Vegas for another time on the 16th of April. They just announced that Paul Walter Hauser, better known as Stingray, will be there. And the Progress World title will be defended. Man Like the Reese will defend the title against Michael Oku, and of course his girlfriend or wife, Amira, will be there. So yeah. Then we got the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Supershow on the 16th. Ricochet will take on Leon Slater. That's going to be good. Marvelous for the Shooting Star Fest on the 16th. Eyahausen will take on Miku Alana. Then we have the Killer Kross's Natural Born Killers on the 18th of April. They just announced TJP will take on G Sharp. Then we have, of course, Spark Joshi Puroresu of America with Lady Luck 2 on the 19th of April. Aaliyah James will be there too. Then we have the collaboration with Eve and Tokyo Pro Wrestling in London on the 25th. They announced that Shoko Nakajima will take on Holly Barton, and Miyu Yamashita will take on Alice Inc., or whatever it's called. But yes, that's pretty much it for upcoming events. Now on to some developments. Wrestling Observer just announced that AEW talent will be participating in the upcoming New Japan tournament, the G1 Climax. So this is huge. Now we know that last year they didn't have any AEW talent. I'm so excited to see who's going to be involved. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if anybody from the Death Riders will be there. Possibly the Don Callis family, obviously, will be one. I'm not sure, but yes. Julia Hart recently just had an interview talk about Brody King's shirt that says F Ice. If you guys remember, the last couple of months we've been seeing that where people were saying F Ice. She was talking about that recently, and let me pull that up for everyone. Yeah, here it is. This is what she said. Well, yeah, Brody did a great job of just wearing that T-shirt. That's all. He donated much money to the families that needed it, and me being from Minnesota, where a lot of stuff was happening, kind of hit close to home. Like some of the stuff that was happening was right out of the donut shop that I used to go while growing up. It's kind of like a weird feeling that all we can do is help anyone needed and donate money, being supportive as a community. But yeah, I think it's a great what Brody has done. So basically, she's from that area and she understands exactly what's going on, and she's totally behind Brody. Don't forget, these guys were part of the same group with Aleister Black and Buddy Matthews. So yeah, that's sets it up. But yeah, that's pretty much it what we have. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Before I continue on, if anybody wants to see these wrestling events from ChocoPro, they're actually free on their YouTube channel, so go check them out. Coming up for our next episode, we're going to feature NXT, of course, as we are on the road to Stand and Deliver. It's going to be very impressive what's going to happen. I do know there is a recent Stardom show in Corkin Hall, which as we head to the All-Star Dream Queendom, which is going to be crazy. We'll see how things. But anything else, we'll just have to wait and see what happens from there. But as of right now, I am determined to do another news updates featuring more on stuff with Evolution. As you know, Chi-Chi and Zones left, but Suri made a very interesting word about Chi-Chi's decision to leave, and of course more updates on WrestleCon for those who are of course participating. So we'll see how that plays out too. But as of right now, we'll leave things as it is and we'll keep moving forward. Until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.